Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday show. My name is Paul Murphy, your host. We are on the Frontline Gaming Network. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. You are going to like what you hear because we're going to be talking about the hottest tournaments coming up this weekend. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri.
Evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. Happy to be here.
And renowned curtain pattern hater, Alan Pajama Pants.
Don't believe everything you hear.
Adam's denying us the view of his curtains, but we are getting to see the gun show.
Yeah, it's WTC weekend. Me and my boy Alan, we would be over in probably Austria for this next one if it was running this year. Unfortunately, it's not. So we just got the jerseys on in homage to our fallen event, which hopefully runs in 2022.
Yeah, to be fair though, you would probably be there. I would probably not be there because I have a newborn.
Oh, you just had a freaking baby. Yeah.
And I get stuck here.
Well, you have a choice there.
That if you listen to us just on the podcast, you want to jump into listen to us or watch us live on video, so you can see this spectacle of the display of the WCTC jerseys that these gentlemen have on. Look, there's a lot of tournaments happening this weekend. I apologize for my audio. If my audio's not coming through as crisp as time, I'm in Orlando for the Games Workshop US Open. I'll be doing some live commentary. So check us out on Warhammer TV this weekend if you're doing some hobbying and painting and can't be here and want to just listen about what's happening at the tournament and see what's going on.
Yeah, this was a packed week for events, guys. We've got a 3-day 176 player major in Orlando, GW1. We've got the Flying Monkey Con, which is is like 96 players, so almost make it to the ton, the 100 players. And we've got like 2 other majors, and unfortunately we can't cover them all. So this week I think we're going to be covering Orlando. We're going to be covering the Flying Monkey Con, and we're also going to be covering War Games for Warriors, which is a beautiful charity event out of Utah.
Oh, heck yeah. Look, I know we don't have a lot of info on some of these tournaments because they're not published, the lists aren't published yet. But is any info we get, especially if you're in the chat, though, in some chat, if you know some stuff, we can talk about some of these events as they unfold real time for us.
Yeah, it's an ever-changing landscape at the moment, especially trying to run these big events wherever you may be in the world. We know what 2020 was, we know what 2021 is and has been. It's been kind of the tale of two halves. One foot in the door, 1 foot out. But I'm just stoked that people are getting out, able to play the game, hopefully in as safe as they can, wherever they may be. But I'm really keen to see what happens this weekend. There's so many new factions being injected into the game. This next month or two is really going to shake things up from what we've had as a pretty stable, dominant Drukhari, Admech, Sisters meta. To see the injection of Grey Knights, T-Suns, and Orcs and how they really shift things is going to be really interesting to me.
Yeah, this week I think it's going to be kind of more of the same. We're going to see that. We're going to see some Drukhari as they continue to have toolbox options to really score points and dismantle opponents. I think that's still going to be the dominant list, even above Admech and above Sisters.
Yeah, let's jump in and talk about Orlando then, because there is some interesting numbers coming out here. And I will apologize when we say, so the title of one of the segments here when we break down one of these events is called Quick and Dirty Stats. That's literally the stats we can extract with a Control-F search from the BCP data. It's not really anybody's given us any extractions. Unfortunately, that means we're at the behest of whether people upload their factions or not. So this morning, when I went to do those stats, there was 120-ish of the 176 players had uploaded their faction, and we thought, it's over 2/3 of the field. That's good enough to go with and get some stats. So the quick and dirties here: 4 Admech, 9 Drukhari, 5 Sisters, 7 Hive Mind, that being 4 Tyranids, 2 GSC, 1 Mix, 6 Orcs, 4 Custodes or Custodies, 15 Necrons, 15. 4 Mist Chaos, 5 Death Guard, 3 Guard, 2 Knights, both Renegades and no Imperial, 2 Grey Knights, 26 total Marines, the most numerous of those being Ultramarines, having 7 lists, and then 4 Dark Angels, 4 Space Wolves, 5 Blood Angels, etc., etc. But man, those 5 Necrons, I'm going to hand pass over to Alan. Do you think there's anything in the format that activates Necrons, or is this just a tale of people taking what they got?
Yeah, I think it's probably a tale of people taking what they have, but also, I think it's going to be interesting to see, Paul do the broadcast this weekend and on Games Workshop and see kind of who's showing up to this event. Are these the typical gamers that we're seeing at most of the big ITC run events, or are these more the people that are coming out of the garages and who've been playing kind of on their own and more like the Games Day, the old, if you remember, Games Workshop used to run something called Games Day. And it's a totally different crowd. Very, very different crowd. So I'm really curious to see who shows up for the event, and that could explain a lot with the armies and the lists and the breakdowns you see.
I hope we get that mix, but there's going to be some serious competitors here for sure.
This is a big thing for if it is that mixing pot, if it is that melding of the two kind of the casual and the competitive scene. Those casual gents who may be walking out of their garage for their first event in who knows how long, walking into a 9-game 3-dayer, like, whoo-hoo, good luck to them. I hope they're up to the task.
Let me talk briefly about the format. So in round 1, you're paired up randomly, and then you start to pair each other on win path. But then after the 4th round, people separate into competing for bracket championships. So there are essentially multiple paths to victory for multiple types of gamers, and that may impact what people's list people take, and then the types of at least the people that are coming with certain expectations that you were talking about, Alan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. I don't know. I don't think they're running differential. I'd like to see differential in the event. I'd love to see that change to the way we do competitive tournaments. But yeah, I like the format. I think the number of rounds is awesome. I think the fact that everyone gets to play all the games is great. So if you want to play, great. If you want to drop out, drop out. But it's not like a six round and then Sunday you have to figure out what you're doing or fork out some more cash to play in an RTT. So I like the fact that this is an all-encompassing weekend experience. I think that's really, really cool. I do want to say if you're there, you're looking for a lunch break, you have the availability to get in an Uber, get yourself to Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan is a ramen joint in the Orlando area, right near many of the convention centers. It is a Dragon Ball Z like ramen shop, and you can get the Kamehameha, which is a bowl of I believe it's 340 fluid ounces of ramen, and there's like a dozen eggs in it and some scallions and stuff. It's delicious. Highly recommend it. It's awesome. They got Dragon Ball Z playing 24/7.
Dude,
so
I hope they have a dish that has like over 9,000 calories in it. That would be.
They do. That's I think that is the Kamehameha. So and they have the Kaioken bowl and then Piccolo's move too. So it's pretty cool.
What a plug.
Yeah, I have to plug it in Orlando. It's just a part of the contract.
So unfortunately, the lists are still locked for this event, so we can't. What we usually do at this point, we would switch to what some of the top players are bringing. I will tell you that there are 3 of the top 20 in attendance at this event. We have John Lennon being our first ranked player in the RTC playing Sisters. Patrick McKinney is currently our 13th ranked player. He's been playing White Scars almost all season, but unfortunately doesn't have his faction listed. And then we have Seth Piper ranked 18th, and he is playing Necron. So we have. And now I expect, and this is my only call, I expect Seth to win his bracket. I don't expect him to make the top bracket, but the bracket he's in, probably the second or third one, I expect him to win it.
Well, he might do really well, make top bracket and not win that one because John Lennon's taking the whole thing. So that's the problem. I think he's got a lot of things going for him. One, Nick Brown's going to be sitting next to the lovely Paul Murphy here, is from what I've been told. And Paul can tell you all about that later. And then Brad Chester, Sean Naden, a lot of the other players are over at Kurt Claus's wedding, who's getting married this weekend. So congratulations, Kurt. I wish I could be there. Got a 3-week-old little baby upstairs that said no. But yeah. So
when you make it to that top bracket and you win your first couple of rounds, please thank Kurt Claus for like literally watering down the field for everybody.
I love the chat here. We got somebody tuning in from Oz.
Love it. Tamagotchi Express. Yeah. Legendary.
Well, what he says is that the Spirit Bomb is a little bit of everyone else's ramen. I would even go so far as say that if you order the Spirit Bomb, you get an empty bowl because it did nothing in the show, and that was
yes. Yes. It was useless, wasn't it? It didn't kill Vegeta. It didn't do anything to Frieza. It just pissed him off. Yeah, it was good.
I know this is not the podcast you tuned in for, but
if you ever want anything to happen, just kill Krillin. Kill Krillin, things start happening. That's just how
exactly. Yeah, it gets the ball rolling, doesn't it?
No, it's Mick Palazzi tuned in from Oz. Thanks for. I don't know if it's. I guess it's your morning there, Adam. I don't know what time it is.
It's 11:20 a.m. So jumping down, we want to jump into our next event, or is there anything else? Do you want talk about the terrain they've got set up at Orlando?
I mean, like, it's actually what's really neat. The terrain's on plexiglass stuff, so you get to see the mats, and all the mats are Warhammer branded. It's actually a pretty cool thing. The terrain is set, and terrain has one configuration on day one, and it has a different configuration on day two for the different mission types. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with the brackets, with the different types of list, well, potentially the different like types of players, and then this terrain format with the missions. I'm really interested to see how it goes, and I think it's going to be fun to call it.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying a lot of different things about this being better or worse for gunline armies because of the plexiglass squares they've got essentially take up about a third of the table to a bit more than the table, which is being literal entirely obscuring. Once you touch them, though, there are huge lanes of fire across the table, and people are saying that's good for gunlines, bad for gunlines, good for sisters, bad for admech, etc., etc. Really keen to see what actually ends up playing out there, and I wish we could see the list because I'd love to see if people have done little like 500-point incremental changes to add more MSU or less tech or things of that nature. But unfortunately, we're just gonna have to speculate until we get the gift of hindsight.
Yeah, Paul's gonna have the luxury of calling this live and then really.
You gotta tune in tomorrow and see what I can cobble together.
Exactly. No, it's good. Good plug. You know what I mean? I might tune in.
I'm gonna be tuning in.
How it's going while I'm at work. Well, it's easier for you. You're like at work and then you come home and you're like, oh, cool, 40K tournament.
That's exactly right. Either that, or I get to catch one game before I have to go to bed at around midnight.
Yeah.
Wake and for you.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be magnificent. Do you want to jump on to the next event?
Yeah,
guys?
let's do it.
So we have Flying Monkey Con, wonderful 95-player major at Wichita, Kansas. Quick and dirty stats here. 6 Admech, 8 Drakari, 4 Hive Mind, 5 Orcs, not using new Orcs, I believe. 2 Sisters, 1 Custodes, 6 Necrons, 8 Mixed Chaos, 8 Death Guard, 3 Actual Guard, 5 Knights, and 19 total Marines, the most numerous being 5 Space Wolves. I believe they must have watched Charity Hammer, because I think it's the first time I've seen Space Wolves be the most numerous of a Marine faction in presence. But apart from that, Drakari is still the most numerous of the power factions in attendance, but actually a decent amount of Chaos. 8 Mixed Chaos plus 8 Death Guard. That's like 16 total lists. That's almost the same amount as the Marines.
Yeah.
I want to settle this debate here 1 second. Sorry, Alan. Is that Custode? Is the way I understand it, you're supposed to pronounce every single vowel in every 40K name. So if there's ever you see like 47 vowels, you're supposed to be like, oh, you got to do it. You're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do them all.
What?
yeah. Look, I got told off. I've been told off quite a few times for the way I pronounce custodes. Apparently, it's custodes.
Yeah, it's custodies.
Custodes. And I'm like, it's custodes. Custards.
No, it's custodies. But it's okay. You could be lazy. It's fine. You're entitled enough to do that.
Thank you. I'm very entitled.
Skip a couple of clinicals.
What do you think about that field, guys? It seems pretty level. It seems pretty.
I'm surprised 5 orc lists if they're not using the new book, because I feel like any orc player, they must be using the new book, because orc players wouldn't be coming. Well. Yeah, you wouldn't get 5 lists. 5 lists seems like a spike to me, which means they're using the new book.
No, yeah, we're getting told in chat from Asante 13 that the Flying Monkey is using the new orcs.
Oh,
okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, then apologies, because I didn't pull out any orc list. I'd pulled that out orc list from the next event after this, so we'll go over that one then. But I would have pulled that one from here just to get a bit of a correlation.
I feel like there's a random orc list going to get pulled during this stream right now. That's what I feel like.
No.
So what are you thinking about that? Because every time I ask people, like, what do you think of the new orcs? They're like, man, I don't know. But I think the orcs, they've got. We'll talk about a known list in the next segment.
Yeah, but
great. I believe them to be very effective.
Yeah, I think they're really, really good. Yeah, they're not like Admech, but they're very good, and they're very different than orcs. So
look, if this book came out 2 weeks before Admech, everyone would be jumping for joy. Everyone would be, oh my god, this is amazing. What's different here is it is a completely kind of new take on orcs. The old orc. This isn't the linear. Oh yeah, cool. What I took last edition is good this edition. This is a complete rebuild of orcs, and they're playing upon different metrics. They're playing upon the right metrics to be good at 9th edition, which is how you got to look at it. They're playing upon strong MSU, versatile obsec, and redeployment and shenanigans. Tech. And that's not tech in stratagem, so you're not beholden to strapping yourself to a single battalion in order to get efficiencies. You can really water your list down in order to activate different parts of the game, which I'm a big fan of.
What can you explain that a bit? What do you mean by water the list down? You mean spending CP on multiple detachments, and so reducing your overall.
Yeah, even further than that, I would say you could spend CP on detachments, but then also spend CP on more relics, spend CP on more warlord traits, and like really spread the love around. Like honestly, starting an orc list, starting the game off with 4 CP is not going to be like rare. It's going to probably be more common. Because you're getting more from that CP than you will in the game. Because like there's maybe like 2 strats that are good. That's about it. Everything else is pretty much good beforehand.
I look at that. We talk about this on some of our other shows about the CP burn rate. Like what do you need it to be? And orcs seemingly do not have a very high burn rate. They can do exactly what you're talking about.
You're absolutely right. They don't burn hot like at the start of the game. Like see Admech especially, they burn white hot on their CP for the first 2 or 3 turns, and then they bottom out, and that's pretty much it. They'll do some pinch hitting like bits here and there, and we see it a lot. I mean, last edition we saw it a lot with Guard. We saw it a lot with Space Marines when they got their codex. They'd really front load all those CP usages. They want to really pump and get the most efficiencies. And if you want to look at it, orcs burn white hot in list creation for when they burn their CP. They put points in the bank so they're there on the board. You don't have to be in the right situation or the right time to get use out of your CP. Just put them in the bank at the start and know you've got that denial obsec bubble. You know you've not got that extra relic and that extra warlord trait to make stuff actually just activate already.
Asante, we have an orc list coming. We do. So hold tight. And Tyler, good to see you as well. Hello.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the gentlemen in attendance here. So top players in attendance, we've got Ben Sherwin, number 6th rank ITC player. He's playing Admech, literally the most basic Admech list. I'm calling this the no fat Admech list because they're the single battalion ones. 3 bricks of Skitari, 2 units of Electro Priests in Dune Striders, 7 chickens upon 3 across 3 squads, so 3-man and 2 2-mans. There's not really much more to discuss there. It pretty much is what it is. But we're going to review the next list because there's some slight changes there. This is Charlie Andre. He is the 11th ranked ITC player at the moment, and he's playing Drukhari. We'll chuck that one off here. I'll give you guys the rundown nice and quick. There's an absolute mouthful. It is Drukhari, guys. Triple Patrol, of course. He starts off with Obsidian Rose. I'm actually going to get Alan's thought about this, about why we're seeing a bit of a pivot away from Blackheart. He's got an Archon with the Djinn Blade, Splinter Genius, Tolerated Ambition, of course. Drazar, a unit of Trueborn, what you expect, Double Blaster, Dark Lance, a unit of Cabalites, 2 units of 5 Incubi, unit of 5 Scourges with just Shard Carbines, basic as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Raiders, and a single Venom, which I'm actually a big fan of. Next is another patrol. This one is Cult of Strife. It's got a Succubus with what you'd expect. Show Stealer, Competitive Edge, a unit of 10 Hecatrix Blood Brides with the Chardonnay Impaler. Usually you see Morgane's Avener, Morvane's Agonizer on this, but you don't on this one. 1 unit of Witches, 2, another unit of Incubi, and a unit of Mandrakes. 1 unit of Reavers, 2nd unit of Reavers, and then he goes into his 3rd patrol. This one is also Cult of Strife. Simply, Succubus with Razor Flails and Dark Toxin with Precision Blows. 2 units of 5 Witches and 1 unit of Hellions. So this is a little bit same but different. And I suppose we're getting to that realms with these 2 books, with this Admech and this Drukhari book. They're almost solved, and now we're just seeing slight kind of 500-point pivots as people find what works for them best to their play style.
It's a toolbox. So there's so much depth here that you can take your same models, give them a slightly different trait, like one of their like the obsessions or whatever, and then you turn them into totally different units.
Yeah, spot on. Alan, any takes? Why would he be taking Obsidian Rose instead of Blackheart?
Honestly, I don't know. I like Blackheart better. Maybe he's valuing the shooting. So the extra 6 inches to range is what I think Obsidian Rose gets, right? On the rapid fire weapons and assault weapons. And then they get to reroll 1 wound, I think, right?
1 wound, yeah.
So I don't really. I mean, I understand how it does apply in his list, and it makes sense overall, but not too sure. And he's not taking the misery armor on the Archon, so he's not going for the 3+ on the Archon as far as I can tell. But yeah, I'm not really sure what exactly he's trying to do with it, other than just trying to get the extra range on the weapons.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a Trueborn activator. Like it's a better Trueborn activator. Like if you weren't going to spam Raiders, which I feel like is better for Blackheart, if you just wanted to double down on the Trueborn element, I feel like Obsidian Rose is better. Like because they already hit without any negative modifiers. So the hit roll doesn't, who cares, from Blackheart. And the blasters and the Dark Lance not wounding is a real pain in the ass. So maybe that's as simple as it is. Maybe it's just like, this is just better.
Maybe he's rolled too many 1s for wounding.
Too many ones.
Never again.
Do you do that? Have you ever done that to where you feel like you have to put a little insurance in your list for your own personal self?
Oh no. In Chaos Space Marine lists, I never take a single Meltagun in any unit because it will never do anything for me. I always take 2, and then they will both wound. That's just how it works. It's just like this cursed witch that you can't see. It's
good
like
old multi-misses, man.
Yeah, one Meltagun, it either misses or fails to wound always.
So this is one of the first times, and this is probably the first time in a little bit we've had one on the show that doesn't have Dark Techno. There's no Dark Technomancers in this. He's really just doubled down on the scoring elements, and I feel like this list is getting very close to where Drukhari left off with their lists before they got their codex. At Adelaide Uprising in Australia, which was like our big 100-person 3-dayer. There was a gentleman named Gabe who literally just took the most MSU army that had ever MSU'd, and he just outscored people. He ended the game with like 3 units left on the table, 3 models, and he just scored like 95 points because you just couldn't stop him. I feel like that's where this one's going. If you're not taking the Dark Technomancers, which to me means Chronos, you just double, triple, quadruple down on scoring all your points.
Wave after wave of scoring, and they can't. They never have enough. Nothing. Their target priority doesn't matter because if they kill 5 things, it's just as like killing 5 other things, and you're double, triple up on the objectives.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. It's a min-max. It's a min-max army. It's all min-max, right? The Hellion Squad. I mean, obviously, you're going to take 1 unit of like something. So he's got that 1 unit of witches, and he's probably accompanying Drazar with them and deciding what to absolutely nuke. But overall, most of this is just really min-max. So
that's what we're going to see. What works. This is exactly, I'd say, the same type of list, and we'll get to that in just a second. But that mentality of don't spend over X amount of points on a unit, and you're going to win more games because you've got the bodies. And that's how you can compete with some of these things that are like the overhand rights, like the AdMech, and some of these, I guess, more aggressive Drukhari lists that we've seen.
All Grey Knights players right now listening are starting to cry.
Yeah.
Grey Knights are going to have some tricks. I think the one benefit, let me say the most primary benefit for Grey Knight players is that they can take their current collection and get on the table and immediately start looking for efficiency.
That's a good point. That is a very good point, actually. There's going to be 0 hobby lag for the T-Suns and the Grey Knight players because they just got all the stuff already.
Yeah. So what's the next list we got?
Oh, so I was going to talk about Matt Root's list because it was literally there's 2 Drukhari lists being played by top players. I thought it was just funny to point out Matt Root because I thought Matt Root would be taking Orcs. I'm like, cool, Matt Root Orcs is going to be good. But literally the top of his Drukhari list, which is very similar to Charlie Andre, except the last attachment is the 2 units of Chronos in the Dark Techno. He said in quotation marks, too lazy to get Orcs painted in time, as the top of his thing, and then it goes on to a Drukhari list.
I was actually going to say is that the Orcs do need some of these newer units to be as efficient as they possibly can.
Yeah, they are hitting the hobby lag a bit more than people would have thought, simply because all their new stuff's good. But I got a big old bone out of my back pocket and threw it to PJ Pants because I have an Emperor's Children list for you guys. This is Michael Rickert. And I'm just going to
not even having to work this week to get in the.
I know. I love
like
this.
A freebie.
I love this list though. This list is fun as hell. Probably not good, fun as hell. Single battalion detachment, Emperor's Children, Dark Apostle, Lucius the Eternal. What a Chad! It's got a sorcerer with prescience and warp time, as you do. 2 units.
There goes that.
In there. 2. Yeah, there we go. Put the notch on the blackboard. 2 Contempted Dreads, both with Twin Volkites, of course. Dark Disciples, because of course you got the ladder ready. 3 units of Terminators. 2 10-mans, one with Combi Melters and Lightning Claws, the other one with Combi Plaz and Lightning Claws, and a 5-man with Combi Plaz and Chain Axes. And then he has a single Dreadclaw and 5 Warp Talons. PJ, take it away.
Not enough Noise Marines.
That's where we went wrong.
You need more Noise Marines.
So greedy.
You can't. I don't know how he can only resist himself. He's taking less than 10 Noise Marines. What the hell is going on here? Or is exactly 10? Is it exactly 10? It's exactly 10.
It's exactly 10.
Yeah. No, it's more Noise Marines. You need more. I like the Terminators, but I don't like more than 2 units maximum because you typically are going to use the Honor the Prince stratagem to guarantee their charge by changing one of the dice to a 6, and you can only use that for 1 unit. So like you're banking on one of them kind of making a 9-inch charge. I think the Terminators are only really efficient when they do make that charge. That's like really pivotal for them to do that charge. especially onto an objective, because putting a unit of Terminators on an objective is very strong. And they can really kill like a lot of stuff too in close combat. So I don't like more than 2 units. The Warp Talons are just purely interesting. I'm not really sure what he's doing with those other than getting
Action
secondaries.
monkeys.
Action monkeys.
Sure. Yeah.
Very expensive action monkeys. 115 points for some action monkeys. But if you need them, you need them, I guess.
Chaos, that's a bargain in a chaos.
That's chaos. That's chaos, I guess. The Contemporaries are great, but the CP does kind of suck. But he is mitigating that by putting everything in one detachment. So that's good. But yeah, the Dreadnoughts are awesome. The Contemporaries are really cool. He could pop the banner and give the Dreadnoughts also reroll wounds in the same turn. And they benefit still from Lucius, so he rerolls ones on them as well. Obviously, he can prescience them. I think he has the Sorcerer for that.
He does.
Or he's presciencing the Noise Marines, one or the other. But yeah, no, it's a fun army for sure. I just wish he dropped. He doesn't have the points for it because the Dreadclaw's so expensive. So I don't know if he can swing it all. But if he could have found more room for more Noise Marines, it would have been nice. But I understand the delivery mechanism he's going for is the pod. And I think that makes sense. I think the redeploy shenanigans doesn't work as well. I think the pod now is definitely the new king of delivering Noise Marines for sure.
I agree with
the new changes. It was ridiculous when they couldn't get out. When the pod came down and they couldn't get out, it's like, well, why would I ever take a pod?
Exactly right.
I'd never take it.
But I feel like you're spot on. This is an overinvestment in the Termies. And when you take the pod and 3 units of Termies, one unit of Termies doesn't get to activate, doesn't get any stat buffs, doesn't get any real things. And this is like we just talked about Orcs, and how Orcs are different from this, where they front load in the list design, they front load all their power, they front load all their design and their tech. This is 8th edition, yeah. This lives and dies off its CP and its stratagems and its auras and its psychic powers. It lives and dies off them. And if you water them down or spread yourself too thin upon what you can place upon different units, you just kind of fall over and you don't have the right things at the right times. But yeah, I would have dropped 1 unit of Termies and either doubled down on my action monkeys, like 2 or 3 units of Raptors instead of course, the Warp Talons.
No. I think the right play for action monkeys, if you're going that route, is he needs a patrol of demons.
That's true. Yeah,
but he just needs it. Yeah,
I was strictly sticking with Mono Emperor's Children. How
but you could drop Warp Talons. His Warp Talons.
I throw you a single detachment, Emperor's Children, and you want to take a second detachment.
Well, if you need action monkeys, I'm just saying I don't need a second detachment. I could make this list better in the Emperor's Children, but no action monkeys.
This guy is going on. I mean, this is what a lot of Marine players have adopted: is just give me a couple of Dreadnoughts with Volkites, and I'm gonna take whatever the heck I want in the rest of my list, and maybe win some games.
But just to be like super transparent, right? The Warp Talons and the Terminator drop could get you like 10 Fury, 2 squads of 5 Furies, Nurgle with Feel No Pains that are infantry jump, and like 2 Beast of Nurgle and a squad of Nurglings. You could fit all of that easily in a detachment with an HQ. And then you're like, okay, like this seems pretty good.
It is. It's actually it hands down. It is just better. Like I can't argue with you about
better.
That. So, all right. We're going to jump onto our third. That's it. We're covering 3 events this week, guys, because there's that much going on.
And then we have the Fuego Rapido coming up in a bit too.
That's true.
I want to say what's up to Nurgle Matthew in chat, man. Thanks for being here week on week, man. It means a lot to see you.
Matt? I saw you on the charity thing, dude. Congrats! Good job on donating and everything, man. It was super nice, dude. Super classy.
Absolutely. He's a champion of the people, and he's just donated so many subs. The Wicked Keeper in action. Our last event for this weekend is War Games for Warriors. This is a charity event. 64-player major in Leahy, Utah. If I'm pronouncing that right, guys.
Sure. Utah, that's a place. I don't know about the city, but the state's a place.
Yeah, I never heard of the place before. It's a charity event, and the way you
don't know that place either.
It's fine. I thought you'd know more than I would. Literally 24 hours
US
flight
is
away.
pretty big. Yeah.
We know there's probably Mormons that live there.
There you go. Well, it's a charity event, and the way you enter is actually you make a donation to either Fisher House or Extra Life, which is a part of the Children's Miracle Network, and then screenshot your donation or some other way, and that's how you sign up to the event. So it's actually a really cute, really clever way of running a charity event. This is the 3rd year running it in a row. And all props to them and the TOs there for doing such an amazing thing for the community. Quick and dirty stats here. So 64 players. one admech, single, solitary, one guy. That one guy should have a look at himself in the mirror when he wakes up before the event and be like, I could have been somebody, but no, I had to be that guy. Never mind. He's got 4 Drukhari, 4 Hivemind, 4 Orcs, and they are using the new Orc book, 3 Sisters, 4 Custodes, 3 Necrons,
Wow.
2 mixed
Wait, what was
Chaos.
that? You threw me off there.
Custodes, I don't know, Custards, whatever. 7 Death Guard, so 7 Death Guard, 3 T-Suns, 3 Guard, 2 Knights, 15 Total Marines, the most numerous of which is actually Blood Angels, Paul. 3 Blood Angels, and the rest of most are 2s or 1s after that.
But did you put a Blood Angel list in the thing?
I didn't.
You only put lists that were good.
You savages. No, because we had the 2 top players in attendance. Marshall Peterson, a 12th ranked player, had an Orcs army, which of course we're going to do. And then we had Nicholas Wenker, a 15th ranked player who's playing Death Guard. I thought those would be 2 good lists to do. But Jens, what do you think about that? So Death Guard being the most numerous faction, 4 Drukhari, 3 Sisters, only a single admech.
Death Guard are going to continue to knock on the door, I think. Well, one, it's very travel friendly. Death Guard, you can take them places.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a little bit easier to get on the table with some of these models if you can find them, if you can get them in stock somewhere. Is this the event they could finally take it?
Everybody, no. So first off, no. Second,
but there's only one admech list there.
I know. And here's the reason why. Because this event requires you to make a charitable donation, which means you have a good soul. And people who play admech don't. So there just happened to be one guy that sneaked through the cracks, you just see good people here. So that's the rationale for the breakdown there. And as you know, Nurgle Matt is representing the community very well with Nurgle, and that's why we see so many Nurgle people at this event.
Right. It's the list is durable, I think. And so depending on what's in these lists, they can hang on out objectives, and they don't care just how many little Toughest 3 bodies crash their along the rocks.
Paul, it's like 7th edition allies came back where you can ally with anything, and like you can ally with both a Death Guard, Plague Marine army, and a Blood Angel army at the same time. List. Like, how happy would you be? Like,
how beautiful would that be? All the Sanguinary Guard go forward.
Would you be gone? Like, we wouldn't see Paul anymore because he's just hobbying and playing in tournaments nonstop.
So this is the thing though. Like, Death Guard have all the elements. The only differentiator between them and other factions, like, it literally, look at a list. You get a Death Guard list up, and you look at a Drukhari list or a Sisters list or an Orc list or an Admech list, and you're like, oh yep, that's a reasonable list of stuff to have in an army. And then you look at a Drukhari list and like, that's an unreasonable amount of stuff to have in an army. It's literally just points is the difference.
The Death Guard are overbalanced.
I believe Death Guard are pointed appropriately, and the other armies aren't. The other armies
those are not the words we use around here.
I know, it's far too reasonable, isn't it?
No, I'm just kidding. So I think they're overbalanced. They've got this thing where especially with the Poxwalkers and the Astartes stuff, I think they're kind of overbalanced, but they still have tools. They've got all these like tricks that I think in the right environment with the right combination of opponents list, they can do really well. And with the faction list that you just read out, I really think it's their time to shine. One of those is going to break through.
Well, let's jump in and talk about Mr. Nicholas Wenker's army. Single battalion detachment. Keeping it nice and simple. Mortarian's Anvil, Lord of Contagion with Gloaming Bloat. The hell, that's why you're taking Mortarian's Anvil. Malignant Plaguecaster with Miasma and Putrescent Vitality. 3 against the 10 Poxwalkers. He's got the big Blight Lord bomb with the 2 Reapers and then axes and bolters everywhere else. He's got Plague Skull of Gold. Glolithia, whatever, on the actual Blight Lord champion there, which I think is a nice little tech piece, because a lot of the stuff he used to try and kill out those Blight Lords are things that can get exposed really well by those the Dunk of Mortal Wounds there. Then he's got 3 units of Death Shroud, all 3-mans. And then he's got a Flower Blightspawn with revoltingly with the extra stench vats. Then he has a Tallyman, a big unit of Blight Haulers, that's 3 Blight Haulers, and 2 PBCs. It just looks like a well-rounded, well-thought-out Death Guard list to me.
Yep.
I like it. I like Blight Haulers a lot too. The big unit is pretty nice. I like that unit a lot. It is. It's a fun list. I think he's approaching it the right way. He's got indirect fire. He's got board presence. He's got screening elements. He's got the right HQs to do the right, right shenanigans and trickery. I think it is one of the better Death Guard armies we've reviewed.
Well, exactly, because I feel like this is the first one that I've seen us put all the elements together. He's got the bullet unit with the Blight Lords. He's got the backfield fire support with the PBCs and the Blight Whores. He's got the small surgical things in the 3x3 Death Shroud. And then he's got the Poxwalkers just get in the way, be annoying, force you to have to interact with them, and then respond.
I think he's missing just the Contemptor. I think it's this list and then figuring out a way to fit in the Contemptor here.
One single Contemptor would just round out.
The Death Shroud. I think the Death Shroud. So he hasn't fallen into the Terminus S trap. And I say that is loving the Terminus S. I love the aesthetic of it. I love the fact that you can get the recycling almost like free points or whatever. But I think this environment right now needs the Plague Burst crawlers. I don't think it needs Death Shroud Terminator. So I
don't think he gets rid of those. I don't think he gets rid of those, but I think the Contemptor is important, though, Paul.
You put in the Contemptor, you take out a unit of Death Shrouds, and then that may be... Now, look, this is an evolution. Like, we had to have those lists before to get to this list, and I think the one step beyond is exactly what you're talking about, subbing out a Death Shroud unit.
Look, I think the only reason Terminus S doesn't function is because Drakari and Admech. That's the only reason it really doesn't function. Especially
and now it works.
And now, now Orcs for the same reason. When you're trying to this is the deal, guys. I'm just going to put it out there. Horde has switched in paradigm. Horde isn't a horde of models; it's a horde of units. It's a horde of wounds, if you want to boil it down. It's a horde of units. So you don't take your 4 units or 5 units of 30 termagants. You take your 30 units of 10 termagants instead. But that's too simplistic. But upon those lines, if you want to play Horde, it's a horde of units now. Sometimes it's around the same amount of models, but it's operating independently. So you don't let your opponents trade up.
What you just said. Yeah, let's take that and then let's go. Like, how does that apply? I think when you're making these lists and you're having to think, how do I, if I'm not bringing the bleeding edge, the heat, the top in the stack here, what do I need to do? And if you're crossing into that 15, 20 body unit, really examine, should this just be 2 units, and take an objective look at that. I love what you just said.
Yeah, spot on. I feel like
the way you do that to add more there is you evaluate the stratagems, the war gear, and the general approach that unit has to the game. So when I look at an Emperor's Children Noise Marine unit, I think immediately that this unit needs to be as large as humanly possible, because I'm going to spend CP to make it fire again. I'm going to spend CP to make all of its weapons better, and I want to make sure that it is getting the most out of those stratagems, right? And if you have units like that are CP heavy, you want to have big units, right? I can think in the past and all those big units in the past where you have this big stratagem you want to use with the unit. And that's like with Orcs, you want to take a big unit of Tank Bustas and leverage the shoot twice, right? For Bad Moons back in the day, not now, right? It's all gone. But there's been units where you want to make sure you maximize the command point investment during the game. And that's when you want a big squad. Pretty much anything other than that, or war gear, like let's say you have to have a certain amount of guys to get some kind of war gear, like Death Coptus. Maybe Death Coptus should be in 3-man units because you want that mortal wound bomb, right? That's a war gear item that you need. So those are really the only 2 elements that I think justify squad size to be larger than you would normally consider.
I agree. I think unless you really have a purpose for it, there's no need to go over 10 models in just about any unit. And like you just said, unless you have some real, literally, unless you have a double activation. Unless you can do something with somebody, it's pretty much the only T's and C's in which I'd go over. I'm a huge. This is like Adam's secret sauce. I love a 10-man unit of Black Templar assault marines, assault intercessors. Yeah, because they can just fight twice with a double pile-in and an extra pile-in and all this crazy crap, and just reach out and act like old Kraken Gene Stealers and stuff. But apart from that, I will never take anything that's over 10 mans. And if I do, it's because I'm going to combat squad them.
Yeah. And even if you know your strategy is to have an aggressive unit, like an alpha strike unit, you're going to want to make that unit bigger so it can survive. It can survive the damage back, or so you can fight twice too. Again, double activations are pretty much the biggest reason. I agree with you 100%, Adam.
Those are perfect things when you're objectively looking at this. I think your first order of operation is, why am I going above this unit instead of going to another unit? And then looking at those things like that, you described some incredibly good value things. I think Nurgle Matthews said, what are you talking about with those Death Shrouds? I love the Death Shrouds too. I'm just thinking about what components need to be in the list to win today. you got to punish people with that Death Guard list, and then it'll get back around to where all the Death Shrouds can go back.
And look, that was the first thing I thought about dropping. You got 3 units of 3. You could drop 1 unit of 3, and
I think it's clean. I think it's clean. You guys like cleanliness. The Dreadnought's exactly 150. That's 150. You're like boom, boom, done.
Yeah, and you still got 2. It's not like you're dropping all your Death Shroud. You still got 2 units of Death Shroud. It's like they don't have that element anymore.
They're still there, right? But you need some components. It's like we saw in that Emperor's Children list, and actually what we see in a lot of Space Marine list is well is that look, I have these pieces that are going to function for me in the game, and then I fill in some stuff that either my codex just happens to have as my only options, or what I want to play with.
But I think Matt makes a good point though. Once you make one change, and I know both of you guys kind of resonated towards a Death Shroud Terminator unit for 150, but I think the moment you add that Contemptor in, do you still need the Blight Haulers?
That's fair.
Or do you want to replace the Blight Haulers now with the Flesh Mower?
That's
maybe
true.
take the whole unit out, bring in the Contemptor, and then get in a Flesh Mower as well somehow. So
Flesh Mower are impressive. They do, but I like the Blight Haulers. I mean, that's. I don't want to completely deconstruct the list. I see exactly where the dude is going, and I like it. I think the list is incredibly solid. I don't think we would now. I mean,
I think we're all just trying to get a Contemptor in there. I think all 3 of us probably agree that we just need to get a Contemptor. So how do we get a Contemptor the best way?
We want the Death Guard to take home the gold.
Let's leave it there. Then we'll move on to our second one, because this is where I want to spend the majority of our time.
Sorry. Can we talk about some Blood Angels?
The majority of our time. We've been on for like an hour.
The time we have remaining, you Muppets. It's Marshall Peterson, 12th ranked in the ITC, playing Orcs, first press competitive Orc list. Let's do it. Here it comes, the story. He starts off with a patrol of Goths. Beast Boss on Squigosaur, Artist Nails, Beast Tide Mantle. So this guy is just so freaking hard to kill.
Normal.
He has a Weird Boy with Warpath, Fists of Gork, no to jump. Interesting. 10 Gretchen, 9 Commandos with the Claw, a unit of Truck Boy, 1 Knobs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like he's got 9 of them, with 1 Claw and 2 big choppers in there. These are, like I said, these are Truck Boys. A unit of 5 Storm Boys, unit of 3 Warbikers. Then he goes to an Outrider, also of Goths, a Knob on Smasher Squig, Headbopper's Kill Chopper, and he's got a Boss Zagstruck, a Warboss, Brutal Cunning with the Killy Claw, Power Claw, and he's got extra gubbins, and he's also Truck Boy, so he's going to be riding along. That's why it's a 9-man Knob unit, of course. Another unit of 10 Commandos, another unit of 10 Commandos. That's 3 units of 10, so 1 of 9, 2 of 10, 100%. All with claws. 3 Squig Hog Boys, 2 units of Storm Boys, both 10. Sorry, 1 9-man, 1 10-man, both with claws. 2 units of Warbikers with power claws.
You mean the Knob has a claw? Not all Commandos have.
Yeah, of course. When I say with a claw means 1, with claws means all. And then Supreme Command Attachment with Makari and Gazkul. That's a lot of stuff. That felt like a Drakari army when I was reading it out, because it just kept going.
I love that it took that long to read this list out. I mean, think about it. It's a ton of orcs. It still is a green tide, but in that exact method that you described a few minutes ago.
Yeah, this is a horde of units. Big shout outs to Achilleos in the chat for gifting some subs. Thank you so much, my man. Really appreciate it. And thanks, of course, to Nurgle Maslow, who did the same a couple of moments ago. PJ, give us some hot takes on this. He's playing Goths, not what I've usually been saying. I've been saying more Snake Bites, Evil Sons, or Death Skulls.
Goths are awesome, man. No, he's playing this the right way.
Yeah,
he's playing this the right way for sure. And Gazgul gives you both wogs. He doesn't really need the other wog, but yeah, this is a really, really good army. I'm not really the only thing I would change, and I don't want to start there, but I want to talk about what I like first. So what I like is I like the Beast on a Squigosaur. Goths are amazing in close combat. The Squigosaur is fantastic. He's got the right Warlord trait on that guy. He's got the right relic on that guy. The weird boy with the Warpath and the Fist of Gork, I think he's giving +1 attack to like a unit of either Commandos or of Storm Boys that first turn, and marching him up there with maybe wogging. I don't recommend wogging turn 1, but if he's doing that, that's probably what I'm envisioning. Is that's why he's taking that. And then Fist of Gork is amazing on the Beast Boss. It's really good on any character. Any character. Gaz as well, if you can get him into the situation. Also, little tidbit, I'm pretty sure that Fist of Gorks is not clan locked. It's one of the only powers that's not clan locked in Orc Codex. It's pretty nice. I mean, you can have a weird boy upgrading characters from other clans, which isn't the case here because he's Goths across the board, but I'm just saying in the future, if you ever wanted to do it, you could.
Put it in your back pocket, that little tidbit.
Yeah, I mean, the number 1 spot I like it on is a kill rig. because a kill rig's a character, and you're not going to usually have it as the same clan, and it's really nice on a kill rig. So, but yeah. Anyways, I mean, the Commandos are good. The Storm Boys are good. He's got a bunch of action monkeys. Anything can really do an action. He's min-maxing a lot of it. I mean, not really min-maxing, but close to it. So, but everything still has a punch. Everything still has a bite. Yeah. That's the good thing about his list. He's
really
trying to trade up.
He's got the surgical units of Warbikers, the three mans, two of them which have power claws, but then he's gone for bigger units of Storm Boys, bigger units of Commandos. He's got 3 units of either 9 or 10 mans. Most of them having a claw on the knob. That seems to be the core of his army. He's got these.
Well, it's because the investment isn't that much different, right? 5 guys are truly action monkeys. 10 guys are both an action monkey and can cause damage.
Yeah, and they slap. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they're real good.
Yeah. With not much of a substantial cost. Like the cost isn't that much to do it.
Yeah. So how I see this operating is like turn 1, he probably doesn't call a war, but maybe he gets in a position where Commandos can go in turn 1. Definitely Warbikes have the ability to charge you turn 1, especially if you have anything outside your deployment zone. Warbikes can just go into them. And you see about the shooting that Warbikes have is actually really impressive. Really impressive. Is it 18 shots per unit? Or is it something even more? It's
around that 17. It's like DACA 5.
Yeah,
something.
the DACA, right?
Yeah. They're actually ridiculous. But he's going to clear all these screens. He's going to clear all your screens out with the Warbikes turn 1. Charge him, wrap him, tap him, whatever he's got to do. Maybe send in one of the squig bosses. And get rid of that front line. Then next time, wah, and then you're just going to have this wave. You're going to have 25 Storm Boys, 30 odd Commandos, and then that unit of Truck Boys that can actually turn 2 with a wah, with a little bit of you move out of your deployment zone about 6 inches. As soon as that unit wahs, it can charge anything on the table. Anything on the table.
Yeah, they can get anywhere.
Yeah, and so as soon as your front lines,
I don't know. For those who don't know, for those who are unaware, these guys can get out after the truck moves.
Yeah,
you get 3 inches, you get out, you move 6, then you run, then you charge.
Then you charge. Yeah.
It's like forever, and you could re-roll your charge because they're
like a 47-inch threat range.
Yeah, they just go
crazy far
anywhere they want.
Yeah, and then in some lists you'll see those trucks in Evil Sun's detachments. So they'll get even more of a bonus to the move, a little bit farther, which is nice. And then the sneaky thing is the knob also, by the way. So he took a knob on a Smash a Squig. For those who don't know, it rolls 5 dice when it charges. It causes mortal wounds on those 5 dice. He also upgraded its big choppa to the head wappa, kill choppa, which is a gross choppa. I believe it's like flat 2 damage, a bonus to strength, bonus to AP. It's way better than a big choppa. It's not as good as the super power claw, but it's very close and very, very good in this character. So I mean, that guy's going to be insanely good, and potentially giving him the plus to attacks is really good. He's got a lot of targets to add attacks to, so which is really nice.
What you were just saying though about trading up, every unit you just described, you can see on the screen right now. I mean, we're what is it? The most expensive unit outside of Gaz is 170 points, and that's just most things are under 125 in this list.
Yeah, and that's the knob unit, which is almost guaranteed to get its points back because it's pretty easy in the current edition to hide a single truck. So hiding that truck isn't too difficult. I mean, obviously there are going to be games like this guy, poor guy runs into Imperial Guard round 1. The guy has 3 to 9 basilisks, and you're like, oh, you lost your truck turn 1. Yeah, that can happen. Agreed. But most of the time, he's going to get that unit's points back because like Adam mentioned, and Adam, Paul, you also mentioned when you add it all up, they can pretty much charge anything. And he could do it turn 1 if he wants to. Honestly, if his opponent deploys very poorly, between the Commandos already being really upfield, the bikes getting anywhere they want, and the truck boy unit getting wherever it wants, he can pretty much charge a lot of stuff turn 1 and jam you, straight up jam you, and then bring in the rest of the army after that. Honestly, he could even charge you with Storm Boys, hypothetically, depending on how you deploy.
Apologies if I accidentally deleted the truck, by the way. He's paid for Truck Boys on 2 units, and I think because I do some clipping. There's a lot of unnecessary lines that come out when you do this copy paste, and so I do some clipping to make it fit onto the screen for you guys to see. And I may have deleted the truck. So if you don't see it, and you're like,
what is Alan talking about? The Basilisk killed it before it even got on paper.
That's their 120-inch range or whatever. That's what you always joke about it before the one table over.
Killed it in the army list.
Killed it in the army list. And so the last thing I want to ask him about, so I'd love to be able to ask this gentleman what he sees in Zagstruck.
Zagstruck's amazing. Did you read his new rules?
As in, he butchered. His toughness 6, like with 6 wounds, 4 up armor, 5+ feel no pain. He's a
Power
butcher.
claw. He's got like 9 attacks. Would that explode? Like 8
the
attacks
Vulture's
that
Claws.
explode?
He's going to be strength 8 -3, 2 damage with
Yeah.
6 attacks. Like he's
Really good.
he doesn't do that much for Storm Boys. That's why I thought I'm like, oh yeah, Zagstrike,
No,
and he's got a
no,
bunch
but
of
he's a
Storm Boys.
goth.
He's just
He's a
goth.
goth
He just
character.
slaps. So he's like his 4th punchy character, and so it's actually really nice. You look at the. I keep coming back to like Sisters, and I keep going back to Sisters. I keep going back to Drakari list when we see this. He's like a Drazar. He's like adding Drazar into your list.
Yeah.
He's not quite as killer because he
Not
doesn't fight
quite as
twice,
good, but
he's butcher.
he's good.
He's a butcher.
He's looked at this codex. He's tried to find, everything that's killy, everything that's fast, everything that's disruptive, and it's basically every line in this army list.
Yeah, exactly. Every line here is just good, and I love that. So I look at things like his bigger units of commandos, big units of Storm Boys. They're like not even over 120 points. They're 110 points for 10 commandos with a power claw on the knob and a bomb squig. It's 109 points 120 points for 10 Storm Boys with a power claw. Yeah, I can't take. Yeah, it's phenomenal to me. I think that is so good because I look at what that same amount gets me in Marines. Yeah, 5 infiltrators is the same amount of points as the 10 Storm Boys. Like,
I like it a lot. It's really good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Sorry, go Paul.
Warbike. No, so Warbikes. That's what's going to get a lot of work. I think after the fact, he's going to be able to say my Warbikes did all this. I think they're going to be the heroes of this army list.
I think so too. They're his first wave, and they're such a good harassing unit. And at any time, their shooting can just pop off and wipe something.
That's
I
the
think
thing about orcs.
the only thing I would change in his list is maybe reshift some of the units a little bit and put those Warbikes in Evil Sons. Put at least 2 of them in Evil Sons. Maybe make one of the patrols in Evil Sons instead of a Goth. Just for the extra 2-inch movement. I think it's really, really nice.
So each Warbike has a Daka gun at 18-inch range, and so at 9 inches they get 5 shots apiece. They got 2 of this. So at 9-inch range they get 10 shots per Warbike. So 30 shots per squad, and you're just like.
Now look, they only hit on what 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
But who doesn't play orcs where their opponent is always just rolling 5s and 6s?
Exactly.
That's what they do.
Right,
That's
man.
the power of the log. It's going to happen.
Well, I mean, he gets the power of the wog from Gaz, so he gets +1 shot on each one of those guns as well.
Yeah, I meant the power of the wog that flows in between the rolls that all orcs seem to have.
He's talking about the force. Yeah.
I'm gonna miss 8th edition orcs with the old Daka rule. I will miss that for a long time. I don't foresee orcs to be that way again for a while.
Orc players' chess clocks will not miss that rule at all. Like,
yeah, that's true.
When you lost like 35 minutes of your chess clock because
I'm terrible at chess clocks anyways. So I didn't. Yeah, I was always.
The only omission I'm seeing from this list, the only thing that I think's in the auto take category for orcs that isn't here is the squig buggy, whatever it is, the no line of sight shooting.
The rocket truck. It's the rocket truck.
Squig buggy. Yeah, squig buggy. That's the only thing.
That could be a choice. I mean, look, he's already got some of the new units here. There's only you did not see a rocket truck squig buggy on the table prior to this codex, and I think that's what's going to be. It's a beautiful model. I love the model, and I love the name also. Like sometimes we just say it a few times just to hear it. Rocket truck swig buggy, but
it is literally the sloppity bile piper of the Orc Codex.
Yeah, you didn't play it, and that may be why it just isn't in the list now because it just didn't have it, and the hobby time was spent on the other things.
I think this man is just attached to Goths. He's like, you know what, I'm a Goth player. Shooting, what's that? Let's go. Come on, boys.
I mean, as a matter of fact, I mean, the models in here, I mean, if he had the current commando, the older commandos or whatever, this is, there's a lot of stuff. The only thing he had to get up to speed was the Squidhog boys. Now, I love the list. I'm just saying he probably looked at it and said, I'm going to take all this stuff and just add in these heavy hitters.
Yeah, same. I agree. The beast boss on Squigosaur is just such a problem solver. Like, same as the knob on Smasher Squig. The knob on Scratch Squig is literally like the equivalent of a succubus. One goes from one side of the table, shoot it into a problem, the problem disappears. The knob disappears as well, but who cares? He's 65 points, doesn't matter.
Yep.
That knob on that beast boss on Squigosaur, I've seen that guy survive entire sisters shooting phases, survive admech shooting phases. That guy can just turn it on and just be like, sorry, bro, this guy's going to take like 1,100 points to kill, and you only shot 1,000 points at him.
Yeah, and his output is good too. So and in Goffs, you really appreciate that extra hit with the mount. There I go talking about mounts. AOS. That's Age of Sigmar talk.
Yeah.
But he's got his dinosaur, the Jaws power, which is very much Age of Sigmar-y. It's just really, really good. Very strong attack. Flat 3 damage. I mean, getting extra hits on that is beautiful.
We got KR Quinn in the chat saying that the Squig Buggy is overrated, and that's why it's not on the list. Not because he didn't play one, is because it's not as good as what's in here. And we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think it's a little overrated too. I would agree with that.
I think I'm starting to go on the overrated side. I think 1 is premium though. I think 1 with the upgrade, the Nitro Squig
Nitro
with Nitro is absolutely amazing. When you start buying 2 or 3 more past that, you get some significant diminishing returns.
So you're saying my army list of 9 is not good?
Yes, I think an army list of 9 is not good.
Quantity is sometimes its own quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, look, I know we started a few minutes late, but let's get to our Fuego Rapido. We got some interesting topics tonight. So the Fuego Rapido segment is where we put up a list of rapid fire subjects, topics. We spend 2 minutes yammering on about them, and when the time's up, we move on to the next topic. So let's get right into it.
No, I don't want to.
When the time, we have 12 minutes. Sorry, no, it's not down to 2 minutes. Favorite paint product of all time? Alan, we'll start with you. I know you do a lot of painting.
Favorite paint product?
Favorite paint product of all time?
Man. That's tough. Bestial Brown. That's my favorite.
Okay.
Paint. I don't know.
Look, we don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain it. You just have to say it.
What's Bestial Brown? Is that like the OG
Agrax? Brown. That's the best brown ever made by GW, I think, in my opinion.
Nice.
I try to find that. If I find an old cup of Bestial Brown, I'll save it. I'll put it to the side. It's only for good models. Only when I'm trying.
For the deserving. I mean, I'm fully expecting Paul Murphy's to be Mephiston Red. Mine is I've got 2.
You read me like a book.
I got 2. Mechanica Standard Grey Spray from G-Dub. That thing is mother's milk to me. It's the undercoat I do for just about everything because it's the best neutral tone spray I've ever seen. And Vallejo Black Metal. I swear by that stuff. That stuff is like my base for almost every non-gold metallic I do now. It's beautiful.
I'm gonna go Devil in Mud. That's what I got to do. I gotta go Devil in Mud.
Dude, you might actually have to explain to the children what that is.
The washes that started it all, that became talent in a bottle, like absolute talent in a bottle. You could have, let's say, a substandard paint job, put a little just swash a little Devil in Mud on there, and everything else takes care of itself. I used to love that. I think I've progressed past that, but now that is Agrax Earthshade is what it's become.
Yeah.
Through several, and it may even had something in between there, Devil and Agrax. But that's my I think the we're out of time. Worst unit in the Chaos Super Faction. Well, now, Alan, I'm sure you have some opinions on this, but we're gonna start with Adam.
Oh, where to pick? There's so many options. Just so many. But some of the ones you would pick, like Furies, but usually that'd be everyone's old, kicking bag. You'd be like, yeah, Furies suck. I'm gonna go for Soul Grinders. Just gonna throw
Soul Grinders is a great choice, because especially we're talking about all super factions. Alan, what you got?
Skull Cannons.
Ooh.
I can make it.
Skull Cannons are terrible.
They are terrible. Yeah, you're right. They're right.
They might be the worst unit in the game.
Is it worse than a Soul Grinder though, mate?
It is. It's worse than a Soul Grinder. It is.
You sure?
It is. Go look up the rules. They're terrible.
I got you both beat. Mauler Fiends.
Oh, for now, that's a good choice. When they go to Weapon Skill 3, which is what I think they're going to, I think they might be okay. But yeah, you're right. For now, they're like, yikes tier.
I don't know, man. They do something. Go play with a Mauler Fiend and play with a Skull Cannon in the same game. I guarantee you'll be like, man, this Mauler Fiend's pretty good, because you'll be comparing it to a Skull Cannon. Skull Cannons are god awful, bad.
There's actually a lot of competition for this. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, desperate for some attention. I think at least, hey, they're not noise. It's not noise breeds, so that we got to
It's
take a
true.
little solace in that.
That's
You
true.
didn't ask what the best unit in all of Chaos was.
No, that's not the question. So
No,
here,
it's
let's
actually not.
let's move to the next one. We're going to jump forward in a minute, 30 seconds in time. Have you ever experienced hobby lag? Was the what we talk about hobby lag is there's a unit you want to play some kind of armyless configuration, but you just couldn't get it ready in time by the tournament you wanted to go to. Alan, what about you? I think I know what your answer is.
I don't think I've ever experienced hobby lag, to be honest, unfortunately, because I have a tendency to just get it done, whatever it is. And I would lower quality however low I need to if I really wanted to play an army.
The minimum standards.
I've shown up to tournaments. The ETC 2015, there was a whole thread that got created because of my army about what minimum standards of paint should be at the event. So I mean, I'm on both sides of the spectrum where I love events that take painting seriously, and I plan for them for a long time, and I get ready and I make sure I have everything good to go on the rubric and on the display board and everything. And then events that don't care about painting, I have no qualms showing up with literally 3 colors sprayed on them. I played a U.S. flag army once where their top part was red, their middle torso was blue, and their feet were white or whatever. Maybe that's France. I don't know, but I did that. So
It might be Italy.
Yeah, that was what I did. I've done all kinds of stuff. I've never ever had a scenario where I wanted to play something and I couldn't. Never happened.
There you go.
That's fair. Yeah, I've experienced it a fair bit, especially in 8th edition. Well, I don't think I ever bothered me in 6th and 7th. 6th and 7th, I was kind of just really happy to have about 3,000 points, and that was like everything I needed for a whole faction. And then 8th rolled around, and things started churning, and momentum started going. Like I went from owning and having, I think it was about 80 really beautifully well painted Cadians to having 260 in probably about 3 or 4 months, just because that's what the meta guard list was the time to start of 8. You had like the 240 odd cultists with a commissar to make them more fearless, and so that was a big thing of hobby lag for me, because that was such a churn to get that stuff out.
Rarely for me. New model syndrome, does it exist? Now, there's a lot of different ways you can take this. Does that mean that as soon as you put a new model on the table, it gets picked up by your opponent? Do you feel like new models get the best rules? Like, what does this mean to you? And what do you think, Adam?
Yeah, it is for me. I know my friends and the guys that I play against, especially around top tables, if I tell them this is a new model that I painted for that event, they're going to smoke that dude. They're going to target that guy and be like, "Oh, you're excited about this one, aren't you? Can't have that, Adam." So yeah, for me, it definitely is a thing. It's also I found this more with guard than anything else. When I painted my 2 Manticores to get my guard army done, they sucked for the first 6 games. They just scattered off everything.
Scatter dice. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, painted for 7th edition. Your turn, Alan.
Yeah, no, I typically I really like models. So right now I'm kind of in a new model craze of STL files for 3D printing. So I just love seeing new 3D printing files available, and I like buying the STLs and then printing those models and seeing how they look. So I like new models. I love Bellicor, the new Bellicor model. I don't necessarily think that rules are good for new stuff, so I don't think that that's true necessarily. But yeah, and I've never had friends as bad as Adam's that kill my new stuff. So.
Typically for me is that I'll get a combat monster into combat that I've painted and built, that kit batch this model or whatever, and then he just completely whiffs, just basically just pounded the sand. That's how I
just after you painted him.
New models. Yeah, the new painted one, the guy that I just built this particular configuration, some weapon combo, some piece of war gear or whatever, and just basically throws it right up in the air, and it's like it doesn't exist. That's how it works for me. So next question is FOMO just a fact of life now? Is maybe for new products, new things that maybe you wanted but you didn't get? Maybe you convinced yourself you wanted it, but you were never going to get it in the first place, but the fact that you couldn't get it made you want it. What do y'all think about that?
I'm Googling FOMO. One sec.
Oh,
it's
fear of missing out.
Yeah. So this is in relation to stuff recently in Dominus in the last year, the Beast Snagger box, people just not being able to buy this new hotness. and then there's fear around it that they'll never be able to get it. It'll be make a disparity in the scene because there'll be the haves and have-nots.
Yeah, I do not have FOMO. I'm good.
There you go, immune.
I think it's easy. Like I actually missed something. I knew I wanted something, but I slept on
That's
it. And I didn't get it.
nostalgia.
So now
Okay, go ahead.
I got some fear. The fear. I have a legitimate regret of missing out. So I think it is. We gotta live with it.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. I get regret of missing out on some stuff. I mean, not like a model or an event, but like if I had an opportunity to like go somewhere or do something and I didn't go, or I decided to do something else, then yeah, you can have regret. Yeah. But that's like afterwards.
FOMO I think might become a bit of a thing for people. What I really hate about FOMO is that FOMO creates incentive for scalpers. Like the more we have fear of missing out, the more these scalpers just the vultures of the scene seem to thrive, which I'm not a fan of.
You want to prey on that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. And so I would just like to see everybody have the ability to buy what they want. Things like the Katachan kernel.
I'm familiar.
I missed out.
I got a painting went up on Twitter right now at Warmaster_TPN.
Yep. Go check it out. I missed out on that one. That's the big experience of FOMO that I've had because I wanted like 6 of them and I was going to get one. And now I've got 2, by the way, because someone sent me one for my birthday.
Is your FOMO just so okay? Who is your 40K Nemesis or Frenemy? I'm gonna just go tell my story right now. Back in the I don't even know this question, but I actually have one. So there's in my Nemesis is ironic because I'm in our gaming club. I'm the only guy he could beat. And this is when I was on a tear of winning every tournament. The only games I lost in a year and a half were to this one guy who couldn't beat anybody else, but he would show up and smoke me on the regular. It was the most frustrating thing, pretty much ever. So yes, I have one, and it's not recent, but it still burdens me. I still feel it in my heart. He's one of my best friends. Maybe that's what it was. But that's it. What about y'all?
I want to hear from Alan.
Yeah, no, I had one before when I was playing 40K more often. In the local area, I think Grapondo was always like my arch nemesis. Same kind of situation. Like I would do really well, and then I would run into Grapondo, and like just dice would go crazy, or he would have the exact counter army to what I'm bringing, or it was always really difficult. I'd be playing orcs, he's playing Purifier Grey Knights. I charge him with Death Coptas or something like that on his witches, and he makes every single invulnerable save. He's got like 40 of them. He makes them all, like some crazy stuff. So yeah, I've had that before.
My recent one's been Matt Morrisoli. I used to be like all through 7th edition. I was in the preeminence of that. Like I think he beat me once in that edition, and then into like the first half of 8th edition, and then I didn't beat him for about a year. And we would play, and he was like my most consistent practice partner. And I'd be trying all this new stuff, and always, and something would just always happen. Of course, he's an absolute world class player, world class gentleman as well. And I got my win back, boys. The literal last game of 40K I played before we got into a bunch of lockdowns was at an RTT where I got his scalp, got a win. That's the first time I've beaten him in about 18 months, so that felt real good.
Hey, well, that's it. That's our show for this week. I think thank you for sticking in with us. If you have in the chat, we've gone a little bit over. It's been a really active group in the chat, and we really appreciate everybody chiming in. It helps, it helps make our job a little bit easier sometimes when we're talking about some of these lists, hearing the comments from folks out there in the world. It's really fun.
Yeah, thanks so much for all the support as well. Thanks for the subs. I mean, none of that goes to us, but you do support Frontline Gaming and the Frontline Gaming Network, and that stuff just helps produce and get some more momentum behind all this huge network that we're trying to put together and all the amazing content and content creators we work with. So thank you very much for those gifts, guys.
Everybody, tune in this weekend on Warhammer TV. See me talking about the Orlando with Nick Donavati. It's going to be awesome. Like, share, and subscribe this channel. Make sure to leave us 5-star reviews. That is a complete hassle-free way that you can support the show. It is one way that helps the algos get out there and have other people find us. And we'll be back next week for another live show. We'll see you then.
See you in the Warhammer TV chat, guys. We're going to support our boy Paul and the lovely Nick Nanavati and make sure the Orlando Open is smooth and beautiful.
See y'all.